we able to do? I guess not here. What's up, Bark? Boobs. Thanks, dude. Appreciate your boobies. Appreciate them, buddy. That is all. Democracy is under attack. It's actually a good color too. Not indicative of my vote at all. No, not at all. It's Tuesday, and on our drive to the office, we do Carversations, right? Right. So, yeah, just got done voting. I'll always laugh at people who scream that democracy is on the ballot. We have to show up. Yep. Now we wait. Now we wait and see. I think I want to reassure most people that I think at the end of the day, the outcome of this election will be what people make of it. If people make it into a screaming fight, if they make it into the worst possible scenario, it will be just that. This is a good time to show this. Okay, let me put it this way. I do what I do in hopes that people can, at some point or another, bridge the gap between one another. And I think this is a time that those who are opposed to, a lot of the Democrat policy, a lot of the, progressive ideology, like leftist, if we're going to label it just like leftist, now is the time that that people can come together and show that they're better than their opposition. Now is not the time to like headbutt one another and show through actions of like brute force that you are better than your political opponents. If Harris wins today, it would be, if there is something nefarious happening, the world, Republicans, it doesn't matter who, they need to go through the proper channels of making the system better, improving it, especially if there is suspicion that something is going on. There's ways to fix it, and I think Republicans have missed the mark on how to do that. And I hope there's someone in the near future who's able to bring people together in that way and to get them to think with a clear head. Yeah, that's the problem, is that everything's bound to this ideological framework, right? Your race, your identity is all tied to your tribe, and you need to ascribe to that or you're cast out, which is, it's not even hyperbole anymore. It's real. Just the simple white dudes for Harris. There's nothing that a lot of these people won't do in order to make identity central to everything. You have to, you are a white dude and you are voting for Harris. It's one of the most oddly racial divisive things, as if saying and this is the subtlety of that marketing in my brain, and maybe I'm late to the party here. We are white dudes voting for a black woman because the white dudes on the other side are too racist to do so. That's the messaging. That's the propaganda I get out of that. Maybe I'm reaching. Maybe my tinfoil hat is tied too tight. But that's what I gather out of that. That's the identity message there behind white dudes for Harris. Republicans are white. They'll never vote for a white. of a black woman, which isn't, I I just don't. And I saw a TikTok this morning. It was like a big thing discussing, like, it was one of those videos like, I could wake up tomorrow or he's like, I'm voting Democrat because I want my daughter to have rights over her body, and then like someone would interject and being like, what are you talking about? Like, so you want your daughter to be able to kill her baby? And then another person pops up and goes, I want to wake up tomorrow and be able to marry the person I want to marry. And the guy cuts in. He's like, no one's trying to take away gay marriage rights at all. No one's even talking about that. Like, again, these are the reasons why I'm not gonna vote for like a Democrat right now. I'm not gonna vote for people who are insistent on making policy like that, like by lying. Do you want your children to be able to kill your grandchildren? Yeah. Like, it's just bizarre. It's just bizarre. And, like, yeah, just the straight up outright lies by the Harris campaign. I cannot do it. I can't do it. I couldn't in good conscience. And people say, well, what about Trump? He lies about stuff. Trump is in a large way, vote for something, vote libertarian. I did, there were a few libertarians who I'm aware of in my like state local that I did vote for, that were against, that were, there was Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians. I chose them over the opposition. A couple, one I'm familiar with, and others that I would just prefer that sort of voice in there. And quite honestly, Trump is a bit more libertarian. He's not in the way that I think everyone wants, but I find him to be more like he's not a Republican. Like he cosplays as one. He LARPs as a Republican, but he's not a Republican at the end of the day. Holy shit, fucking traffic. Go. So yeah, Trump isn't a career politician. Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at, kind of, is like, he's not a career politician. He's been in politics for some time now. He's been in politics in that he's dealt with politicians throughout his life, and he's used them as leverage to get what he has wanted, real estate wise, permitting and all that. Like, he understands the game. Yeah, man, I can't quite figure out what I want to do today, Mephisto. Thank you for that. And I will, if I can jump on streams tonight, I will. Part of me wants to, the other part wants to sit down and write my book, and or spend time with my family, because I will probably be doing a longer stream on Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll see, but I will take the links. I would love the links. But I think the one thing that you can instill in people, when it comes to this stuff, is that the democracy is not under attack. And if it were under attack, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, I know you guys know this, but I think pointing out in the calmest way possible, when someone says like, oh, Harris is fighting for your rights, I would point to the fact that her campaign has continually lied in order to make Trump look extremely bad, right? Like, her whole campaign has been, you shouldn't vote for, this is why you shouldn't vote for Donald Trump, not why you should vote for me. Which, and she's taken bits from him on stuff. Which, again, just disingenuous. But also remember that politicians have been promising people things. They've been promising the world to their constituents for decades and almost never delivering on them. And Trump is no different in that. But again, what we have is the gift of hindsight with 4 years of Trump presidency that went relatively well. The one thing that really sort of, I think, screwed him was COVID. You know, his final year in office was a absolute clusterfuck, and it totally, I think, threw a wrench in the works in ways that no one thought possible. And it, again, whether by design or by accident, COVID was a huge blow to everyone. You're voting to protect your Second Amendment, right? Yeah, you know, and that's the thing is I don't believe the Democrats when they say that they're not going after, you know, guns in any sort of way. Or I've heard this one that Trump has undermined the Second Amendment and he banned whatever. He did ban bump stocks, which, you know, you can have your opinion on them. I don't agree. I'm on the fence. Like, it's dangerous, whatever. Like, I think personally it's one of those like unneeded accessories. People have said that, Trump said that he should, you know, be able to like confiscate weapons and ask questions later. Which is a half truth in that he was discussing fence sitter. Shut up, the beast. Which is it's a half truth because when he was discussing that, he was discussing like when people are like being watched by the FBI, when there is tips that something might happen, and they find that this person has a lot of weapons, he said we should go in there and take them, and then, you know, then go through due process, which you couldn't be coddled and be truly free. Yeah, no, it's true. This is the difference between like a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats. Like at the risk of sounding too naive, but just making it simple, is that Democrats often, they want the nanny state to take care of people because they think that that's what the government's there to do, is there to take care of their people, which in some small respect might be true, but Republicans or, you know, conservatives would rather, and libertarians would rather the government be out of your life, allow me to live how I want to live in order to, you know, make my best possible outcome. You know, less influence from outside and more influence from myself that I can, you know, do something better and pick myself up and all that. Which, you know, I hope people do grow up about big federal government. Yeah, it's and again, like, I spoke about this a little bit yesterday. The government, the U.S. government specifically, has a very large social safety net. It already takes care of the destitute in a lot of respects. I think there's probably ways to fix it. You know, we spoke yesterday about the possibility of just a flat tax, abandon the income tax and just impose a flat tax on everybody, which isn't the worst idea in the world. Why is there someone on the highway? Holy shit. Yeah, you know, it just comes down to, like, I'd have more respect for Harris if she explained out, like, what her unrealized capital gains tax meant for the everyday person, right? Like, but I don't understand it. I don't understand how that works. Because as I see it, it looks like it would hurt, you know, the above average American who's trying to invest in properties and you know, build a little bit of wealth for themselves. I think she's unqualified in that, again, like she's proven she's unqualified because she uses the media manipulation in order to bolster her image, which, like, again, people have done, but not in this egregious way. And beyond that, she was installed, not elected, through a primary. So that is another issue I have, is that we just have a guy who completely fell on his face, Biden, fell on his face in a recent debate. They didn't like that, so they said, oh, actually, not letting what's come before burden your future. Are you talking like voting out Democrats? Is that what you're talking about? Like Biden was a failure, so we shouldn't let another Democrat be president. Is that what you mean? What up, Trey? You know, I want to thank you guys. That's Campbell. Oh, I do want to thank everyone. We got 12 people here. If we can hit that like button and get up to maybe 10 likes for the stream, helps push this out to people. Oh, voting process was smooth. I mean, I live in a red state in a red town, so they probably have their shit together. I walked in, showed my ID. There was no line. They handed me my ballot. I sat down, filled it out, stuck it in the machine. It was done. Yeah. You press dislike for the lulls. Interaction is interaction, my brother. I love independent candidate democracy. Yeah. The problem is that you know, in the two-party state, those third parties, like, they just don't gain traction, which is unfortunate, right? Like, there's a lot of good voices out there that are independent or libertarian that just they're not heard. But it's not a wasted vote. I can't stand when people say, oh, it's a wasted vote. You vote for libertarian, you're just throwing away your voice. No. Make America Great Britain again. Oh, Kenzo, what's up, brother? I do think it's important. Here's my advice too, like another bit of advice for people, because that's what I do, right? My opinion is, don't, like, just like people are quick to rope like Republicans in with MAGA, invite like MAGA is just Republican or whatever. You know, I'm a Trump voter, but I'm MAGA. Like, none of that's true. And in the same way, like, someone voting for Harris, like, because they're on the fence, or maybe they're a lifelong Republican and now they're thinking, oh, I need to vote for her. I think extending a courtesy to people, not just roping them in with the broader, like, progressive or leftist, is unproductive. The way through this is going to be through, like, patience. You got to be patient with people. If a conversation comes up and people want to know, like, oh, who'd you vote for? Like, what, you know, why'd you vote for Trump? Why'd you vote for Harris? Like, hear them out, listen to them, take in their ideas, and you don't need to respond to them or make it into a debate. Sometimes just listening and nodding and being like, oh, like, that's awesome. Like, some people just want to, and especially if they know you're like a Trump supporter or a Republican or a MAGA guy, like, giving someone the time to speak that's on the opposite political spectrum is important. It's going to be important moving forward, because whoever loses is going to throw a fucking hissy fit. Bottom line. And if anything, I want people like Republicans who just have a bad name, where it's like, it's you become persona non grata when you reveal that you are a Republican or that you voted for Donald Trump. All right, Ark, have a good day, brother. You know, we have an obligation to our future, and that future is our children. It's the ones that are, you know, that are growing and watching how we react to things. Like, because remember, kids are taught things through word of mouth, like only so much. Kids absorb how their parents react, and they watch how their parents talk about things and how, you know, how vitriolic they get with stuff. So if you're engaging with others in this way in front of them, they're going to think that that's how you deal with problems and opposition. And again, we got to be better than that. I know this is hard for people to wrap their heads around. I know people disagree with me. They think that we need to fight fire with fire. What's up, Madhouse? Yeah, it's a totally different party now, Cashflow. I agree. Yeah, everyone, you know, that's... I do think in some small regard we're reaching a tipping point with politics. I mean, at least I hope. I think things are getting a little bit out of hand. Hey, Madhouse Gaming with that fucking membership. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks, man. Being better is how we got Bush and Obama. Yeah, I don't quite know what you mean by that, but like, I mean be better in the way, not as a slogan, not as some like BS slogan. I mean it in like the real sense of, like, I don't know. I'm camo grinding in Black Ops 6 right now. Oh, God bless your heart. I think I wore out all that I have to give in Black Ops 6. I don't know that I will be. I don't know. It's just, like, the multiplayer is just too much the same. The omnidirectional movement's dumb. And it's kind of back to, if you're not using these weapons, like these specific weapons, you're kind of screwed. I don't like that. Well, we have I don't know. I just think this is a very, very different election than Bush and Obama. We are so far removed from that. Like, just, you really got to just look at how different even technology is. The amount of information that we have, like the way we've tailored it to, you know, and in some ways the government has tailored it to try and protect everyone. Like, I think we're learning that it's not sustainable. Like, the past 8 to 12 years has given us some interesting insight into politics and campaigning and what it does to people. Like, I think people understand, and not just campaigning in politics, but I think in general how social media affects people. I think we've learned a lot with how social media has become. So I mean, I really hope that we are on an uptick. Maybe not. Maybe it will get a little bit worse before it gets better. All I know is that if you continue to pluck each other's eye out over, like, politics like this, there won't be anything left. There will be nothing left in the long run. You can call me whatever you want, but, you know, I think there's a way to be steadfast and strong and politically motivated and not just go soft at the polls, or when you're voting. Like, I think there's a way to do it, and I think this will, and you might agree, Trey, that like this isn't a politician thing. This is like people at home. This is like teaching kids, like, even generalized empathy, but not to the point of like being a complete pussy. Like, you can have empathy, but also realize your limits and bounds and where someone else's feelings end and your livelihood like begins. Like, we can't just always bend to the will of other people's feelings. And I think it takes strong parents. I think it takes parents who know the limits, where we have to think about others, but also, protect yourselves. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, if people are so worried about the end, whether you're on the left or the right, people need to be involved in their community way before they're involved in these national elections. And I think most people are involved in their national elections first, and then like the local stuff becomes a byproduct of it all, and you just become misinformed. Then you're voting on tribal lines, not on any sort of like, and then even lower than that, you don't even know who your neighbors are because you spend so much time trying to connect online and grow your tribe on a global scale, but forget that your neighbor, like, while they might have blue hair, they probably they might be totally pro 2A, and they might be completely different than you realize. Just because the person isn't flying a flag in their front yard saying, take it from my cold dead hands, doesn't mean they're not, they might not be helpful. But that's what I mean, is like most people aren't like aware of who is around them. And again, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, and if you're sitting there thinking, oh, the end is nigh because of candidate A or candidate B, like, you don't even know who's 10 feet from your front door. What's up, Colt? Like, I wish and that's because ultimately, when it comes down to it, if that's what we're happening, if tomorrow, or if later tonight or tomorrow we all woke up and realized, oh shit, that person is president now, and then all hell broke loose. I mean, there's people who live in tight neighborhoods like myself who, well, good thing I know a bunch of people on my street, and good thing we know that, like, a lot of us are cool with each other. There's some that aren't. But, like, I know them. I know their names. Not everyone. But I know who I would go to. I know who... But there's a lot of people who I make assumptions about. I think the world needs to be a lot more generous than it is. And the hardest part of it all. I understand. I understand why people aren't trusting. I understand why people don't want to, because they won't be granted the same courtesy, and that's a tired excuse. It's a cop-out. Well, they won't afford me the same luxury. That's the point. That is the point, my friends. The point is, you will not get the same respect, but how you change minds is giving that same respect. Right? Why do I step into those TikTok debates? I step into those TikTok debates because I know I'm not going to change the mind of the person who I'm talking to, but someone in the chat will hear what I'm saying, they will hear my tone, and they will say, hey, this MAGA freak is actually pretty level-headed, and I'll hear him out. And you know what? I'll check on what he says. Oh, wow, he was right. Guess what? Seed planted. Now this person is thinking for themselves. They're not just listening to someone else. But when people go into an argument, or when they go into a debate or whatever, guns blazing, everyone's shut down. No, and I'm not saying you should be, Trey. I don't think you should be. Again, you need to know who your people are, but we also need to not make assumptions on who those people are. Right? Just because someone has blue hair and has tattoos all over their body, I'm not going to assume that, and piercings, that they're crazy, leftist or whatever. I'm going to assume that I'm not going to assume anything anymore. I'm just going to interact with the person as if they're an equal. And if for some reason they ever gave me a reason to not, then, just don't trust people with long beards. I wouldn't either, man. Those women last night were almost impossible to listen to. Yeah, because those people are not trying to have their minds changed. I'll be honest with you. The problem with political TikTok and their debates is that those people, and we know many like them who act like this, those people are not trying to have their minds changed. They've dug their heels in, and that's how they make their money, because it brings in people who need their ego stroked by someone else. And it also brings in dissenting voices, because they're like, are you crazy? Like, a lot of those debates, I would say, are like 50-50 in who's in them. You'll have half of the group, which is Trump supporters screaming Trump 2024, and then you'll have the other side saying that y'all are idiots. There's very few people in those chats that are trying to make sense. There's very few people even me. So when we were doing that debate yesterday, and the guy came on who was pretty well versed in everything, they were trying to go over the 14 tenets of fascism. The guy kept getting hung up on the nationalism thing. He wouldn't let the person continue to go through them, because had he done that, she would have exposed herself for the fraud that she was. That's the purpose of freedom of speech. Let these people talk themselves into a hole. Let them expose themselves for the idiots that they are. It works both ways. And people don't realize that you combat misinformation with more information, especially these people who just outright lie. If they're going to let you stay in that debate long enough, or that conversation long enough, use it to your advantage. Bring up specific examples. It's simple as. But when it comes to like most people aren't arguing and debating on TikTok, and that's the thing, is we've all gone through this phase where we've watched dozens of political commentators debate each other on a stage. We've seen political commentators, conservative and liberal, go to schools and have people line up and they debate them one-on-one, right in line, asking questions. This happens all the time. It's huge on YouTube. That's not how people communicate. And the fact that I think part of this is one of the reasons we are where we are, is because we've been made to think that this is how people talk about political issues. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy to take you can take hardline stances in your values and all that, but going into these debates as if they're like a blood sport is not productive. not productive. Because what normal people do is they hear what someone has to say and they give their they'll give their opinion on it, or maybe discuss it from their point of view, and then you can have a back and forth. But we've been told, and I think largely by probably conservative commentators, that you just have to be right. You have to own the libs, right? Own the libs. It's a tired phrase. Not for normal people. Not for normal people. Politics should not be a blood sport for like normal everyday people talking about it. But we don't live in that world anymore, is the thing. We don't live in a world that we need to die for our political beliefs. We live in a much different world. We are not trying to break away from, tyrannical monarchies, or we're not trying to defend against like real fascist governments and dictators. That's not what we're doing. There's no one here saying that, I'm not saying that politics aren't important. They are. It might be a blood sport for the politician, but like we shouldn't. And this is what I mean by, we're not living in a time right now where a Trump presidency or a Harris presidency is going to cause societal collapse. I don't believe that. You would be hard pressed to convince me that a Harris presidency is going to cause some sort of societal collapse, or that it would somehow measurably lead to a societal collapse. Because I think if it does, it's going to be at the hands of crazy political people who are making shit up about what's going on. Will Harris use unilateral authority to, create a communist hellhole? I would say 99.9% no. Just in the same way that Trump didn't use any fascistic attack, he didn't use any fascistic methods to take over the office of the United States presidency, to militarize the government and refuse to leave office. Like, she'll do exactly what Biden did. If you mean that she's going to like use executive orders to like do things that Trump promised, like, well, I'm not all that concerned about it. Like remove something and then put it back in place. I'm not all that concerned on that. And maybe this is a conversation overall, but like I would like to hear what people think she will do that's worse than Biden. Again, what is something that would be measurably worse? Like, do I think that she could like automatically? I know. Well, she's a candidate. She's an installed candidate, right? Boom. She's an installed candidate, but she is the candidate that people are voting for. Let's just keep it at that. What like? I'm not even convinced that she would be able to institute her unrealized capital gains tax. I'm not even convinced that would actually even be a thing. I think there's too many people in Congress who benefit from unrealized capital gains already. So I think that's playing with fire. Again, it is likely a conversation. Maybe tonight I sit down and talk about it. I'm just not. Again, I think it'd be very difficult to make the case for any sort of like societal collapse is on the way because Harris is going to be a president. A national income tax, a third layer of taxation. I don't. The thing is I don't think anybody. I don't think that's popular with anyone, and I don't know that it would be something that passed. Again, I could be wrong. I don't think she would have the support in the House or the Senate to do something like that. I don't think people are opposed to like a flat tax in lieu of an income tax, but I doubt you'll ever see something like that in our lifetime, but especially not under a Democrat. Listen, I'm not trying to start any sort of like the camera flips it around. If you notice, all the signs are backwards too. Hello, I'm in England. Hello, cheerio. Would you like some tea? Something like weird and fucked up me and my good friend used to do. Me and my best friend John, we used to just be like driving around somewhere. Where's the President Jack's here? Me and my best friend, we used to like drive around and do that. We'd just be like driving down like the back roads in Connecticut, and then we would just, for no reason, hop into the left lane, like driving normally, and then pretend like we had an English accent. Just doing just that, but driving in the opposite lane of traffic, like not safe at all, but just like we would just crack ourselves up. You got a license for that impression? No. I am the best. I am the best at impressions. You fucking what? That's why I used to watch like Snatch on repeat, because like listening to all those guys talk, I was just like, man, so fucking good. These guys are like Tyrone from Snatch. Oh man, my favorite dude. And just the slang a lot of times like that they use is just revoke my vote. Man, I wish they would. I cast my vote for Senior Trump. Trump and Vance. Yep. My vote is going in the garbage. Yeah, Utah is pretty much just red. Like it's pretty much a shoo-in for Republican. So this guy is Donald runs. Yeah, I think, I don't know, like almost every election, it's never pointless, Metastep. Get out there and vote. Get your lazy ass up, get to the polling place and cast your vote. It is a good reason to it's a good reason to live in a place that has like-minded people, right? Like, if you live in a place that you find is like voting against your interests, like why would you want to live there? Straight white men for Trump. Jack, I had a theory about that actually when we started. I don't know if you probably weren't here yet, but I did say the white dudes for Harris seemed like it was their way to basically say, hey, look, we're white dudes. We are voting for a black woman because MAGA is just a bunch of white dudes that are racist and won't vote for a black woman. And I thought, wow, what a nefarious fucking thing. Oh, I guess you're kind of locked there too, Metastepon, because you're your daughter. Oh, okay. God damn, Meta. Well, as soon as you can move, you should move. My favorite thing, my like kink online and social media is watching like conservative black men and women dunk on Democrats. It's like my favorite thing to watch. And to watch those people squirm and be like, you're voting against your own best interests. And you're just like, I don't know, it's such a nothing retort. Like, you have nothing to say. I have kinks, I do. Meta, you strike me as the least violent person ever. With the copious amounts of weed that you smoke, how could one be violent? Oh man, I don't know, y'all. What I do know is that we'll be fine. We'll be fine. My family will be good. Your family will be good. Because at the end of the day, we are smarter than these politicians that are installed. Whether it's Trump, whether it's Harris, we are smarter than them. We should know how to do it. We will win. I would much prefer a Trump presidency over Harris. But you do know that if Trump's elected, it's going to be 4 years of like mainstream media misinformation. I don't even like using that word. That's all it's going to be again. It's going to be headline after headline, like totally editorialized, totally edited voice lines, clips, all that stuff for the next 4 years. Yeah, 4 years of Let's put it this way. If Trump wins, I will probably have little to nothing to say about politics for the next couple of years. I will probably mute just about everything. What's up, Dan? And now they have AI to try and screw with us. Yeah. Like, this is like, I'm setting up to do an entertainment podcast because I know that whatever happens, it's going to be insufferable. So I need something to occupy my brain for the next 4 years that's not politics. I need every excuse to not engage with politics and to watch movies and to give you guys good commentary on great movies and TV and games. Like, that's what I need. I don't need this shit anymore. I need to tell you why Lightyear is not the worst movie that was ever created. I need to tell you why Snatch is one of the best movies ever made. I need to tell you why seasons 1 through 3 of Prison Break were exceptional, and 4 fell off big time, but 5 had a good comeback, but just didn't have enough steam. That's what I need. That's what you need. Y'all are too fucking negative about shit that doesn't matter. Calling you out. Thanks for all the likes. We got 12 likes on this stream. 10 people hanging out. I appreciate everyone for doing your part. Have you seen Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking? Of course I have. Great movie. You know what? Another movie that's not talked about enough? Rounders. Not saying you contributed to it, but what I'm saying is that people were tired. We're tired of it. Oh yeah, I know I did. I'm playing games, tinkering on stuff, trying to buy a house. Screw politics. Yeah, screw it. Rounders is a movie that's not talked about enough. It is so damn good. So good. Love Rounders. I need to check out, I really like 21 as well. Was it 21? Is that what it was called? With Kevin Spacey and that one English dude that was in everything forever. God, I can't remember. He was in Across the Universe. What the hell is that guy's name? Who's that English bloke? Yeah, there's too many good movies out there. There's some people talking about them, which I really appreciate. But man, if I wasn't driving, I would read that, Jack, but holy shit. Today's gonna be a stupid day. I think I told you, I'm applying for new jobs. You got triggered on Fetterman on Rogan. I actually didn't watch that episode. I was gonna listen to the Elon Musk one today. At some point or another. I got a couple of meetings though, and a lot of work to like sort of catch up on. I'm just not. I'll tell you, I'm not in a good way when it comes to working. It sucks. It's not a good feeling. Not a good feeling. Yeah, well, I should tell you something about his constituents. I need a new job big time. I need a new job. I'm working. I'm applying. I'm working now, but I'm like, if I had some sort of like savings reserve, which I don't currently, I would quit my job today and I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't. That's how like bad it is at the moment, which sucks. It's so stressful. It's so stressful that it's come to this point, and there's like little to nothing I can do about it. just hope that, I don't know, I hope I find something. 'Cause I told my wife, I'm at the point where I hate my job so much, I might just go back to bartending, waiting tables, because at least there I have like some control, you know. They applied 700 or 1,400 times just to get 2 or 8 interviews. That's insane. I've never in my life had that problem. Never had it. Like, I usually apply to like 3 or 4 places and I'll get 2 interviews. Like, unless I'm like grossly underqualified. Like, sometimes I'll put my resume out there for jobs I'm not qualified for, but I'll just try, you know? Like, I'm missing a couple years or something like that, or I'm like, hey, yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll just at least sit down and have a conversation. What's the worst that can happen? But most of the jobs I've applied for are usually like in a restaurant, or, and I will admit, you know, there's a bit of nepotism involved, so I had a leg up. But with those, like, I had to go through an interview process. I think there was only one that I didn't. The other one, yeah. It's going pretty well. It's slow. It's a slow process. That's the thing, is that, like, while I practice the programming stuff, I'm in no position to, like, I have zero schooling or anything behind it. That's why, like, I'm actually trying to get into a program that'll be at night that I can do and actually get like a certification for. So that, at the very least, will be a sort of leg up in the industry, if it even is that. More like a stepping stool. I do know largely this stuff can be portfolio driven. Like, what do you have that you can do? Like, what, you know, can you make this thing? As you and I sort of talked about. Which again can get frustrating, because you're trying to make something but you don't know how to do it, so you spend more time like just back and forth, and then having to then also trying to replicate that, and not just do it like down a checklist, being able to do it all from memory. Yeah, I would love to be able to work remote or from home. It would be great, because I would have time to do everything I want to do. And my family would be able to travel. Like, we want to drive the RV around and you know, do shit with our kids in random places. It's your birthday? Happy birthday, man. Holy shit, it's so hot in here. I'm like sweating. Yeah, oh dude, I wish I could like just really break down what, like, why it's so bad. Like, no one should be meant to do this shit. It's, I think anyone else would have been like, peace, I'm out of here, can't do this anymore. Like, I don't know. Again, if my wife and I had a decent like little savings going, probably wouldn't even be messing with this shit. Happy birthday, brother. Nice, dude. Should do all that shit. Heard you can get your kicks on Route 66. Yeah. And now I gotta go do the damn thing. It's a good chat though, guys. If you haven't voted, go out and vote. If you're in the States, just cast your vote. Do what you gotta do. I won't hate you if you don't vote, but if you can vote, if you're able to, do it up, man. We'll see what happens. It's not the end of the world if your candidate doesn't get chosen. You know, just gotta keep on keeping on. We'll be here no matter what. I'm sure I'll be somewhere tonight talking about stuff if I'm feeling like it. I might just I might take the night off and just not watch anything. Nice, Dan. We can't cast an extra vote. All right, y'all. Be good. I got to get into work. I got to start my day. But y'all be good. Maybe I'll see you later on today. We'll see. I gotta fit it for some glasses because my eyes suck. Okay. Be good. Go check someone else out. Go watch someone else. Don't watch the election shit all day. Just be happy. Just be good. Take it easy, y'all.